Cooper Diesel Younger.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks for popping on to the Maritime Hockey Podcast. This is episode 10. Wow. Episode 10 is pretty amazing. This thing was kind of just for having fun, talking about hockey with the boys. And we had a really awesome guest there last episode with Greg Dobson, the late brother of Jordan Boyd. That was probably one of the best episodes we've done, boys. I've gotten a lot of messages from friends of mine saying, wow, that's, pretty cool to talk to Greg and have some stories about his moose heads and stuff like that. For today's episode, we're going to dive into some stats about, Game 7 last night. I think we're all pretty emotional and either fired up or emotional or sad about whatever happened there. I'm not going to get into that until later. But we do have a very, very special guest here with us tonight. It's Greg Macdonald. He is currently the Pee Wee AAA head coach of the Bedford Blues. Greg, thanks for coming on, bud. Really appreciate it, guys.
Oh, thanks for having me on, fellas. Watched a few of the podcasts. Haven't watched all of them yet. Haven't got the time to, but I watched the first. I think I'm up to episode 5. So you guys have done a really good job, and it's good to just come on and talk hockey. Oh, yeah. Those are the best podcasts when guys just come on and talk what they see and discuss it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's wicked to have you on, Greg, and just a little insight into Greg's. We're gonna go coaching history first. Greg is it's tummy sticks time. Let's go. Four-time provincial championships. He's won 2 at the midget level and 2 at the Pee Wee level. Pee Wee AAA, quoting Bisonet, not a big deal. I'm not going to take it. That's his saying, boys. I'm always going to quote him. He's one of my idols for sure. Probably the biggest championship that Greg is known for and with his coaching staff, Petey McIsaac and Matt Wombold, who we've mentioned a bunch of times, and we are going to have him on here as soon as COVID rules loosen up a little bit. He is a Atlantics champion as well in 2019. I got the chance to, we got the banner in the background. There you go. I got the glorious chance to drink a
water.
Water out of that cup. That cup went a lot of places that evening, and
there's a lot of water that night.
There was a lot of water.
A lot of water. Yeah, a lot of Mountain Dews in that cup. A lot of Mountain Dew. Love Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So we do have a big guest on tonight. A lot of provincial championships, a lot of tournament wins. We'll get into those probably as well. Greg, your background is you're originally from Regina, and you played for the Pilot.
Oh, Pilot Butte. I know it's a weird
Butte
one.
Storm. Yeah, Pilot Butte Storm. Yeah. You also played for 2 years for the Regina Capitals.
Those stats look amazing, don't they?
Ladies and gentlemen, regular season in total when he played for the Storm, he played a total of 37 games, 2 goals, 1 assist for a total of 3 points. In the playoffs, he played 13 games, 2 assists, and so that means 2 points. First year that he played for the Capitals in Regina, he had a total of 6 points, 3 apples, sorry. And then the last year that he played for Regina Capitals, he had a total of 11 points. Let's go from the blue line with 2 Genos and 9 apples.
Let's go.
Yeah, blasting out to the forwards for the assist. Let's go.
Wow, getting that primary assist. Right? But yeah, no, man. Like I said, again, it's great to have you on. A little bit of a recap there. What are you feeling? Biggest thing that I wanted to ask right off the top is, what's the biggest thing that you think that you've brought from your past playing career into coaching? Because you're basically going to go down in Bedford Blues history as one of the most winningest coaches, probably next to Sean McKenzie. And I am pumping your tires big time. But
good,
and I know it comes down to a whole coaching staff, and we can get into that as well. But what's one of the biggest things coming as a defenseman to being a head coach of a team that has won so many championships?
Well, it's a really good question. And we bring this up at the start of our parent meeting every year. I think what makes me unique as a coach is I've played both out here in Atlantic Canada and also out west. So I've seen the hockey culture in two different. The way the game is played between here and out west is like completely different. Like it's a completely different hockey game. And I was a stay-at-home defenseman. I wasn't. You saw the numbers. I'm not an offensive defenseman by any means.
Protect the house, right?
Yeah, protect the house. Penalty kill, blast out. They tried putting me on power play. It wasn't a good look. But I think I bring a lot of that defensive savviness to coaching. And every team we have, no matter how good our offense is, we always want to be defense first. And that's you win. I'm a strong believer in you win championships when you build from the defense out. I mean, you can get offense, you can create trick plays, you can create a lot of offensive tactics. Taking care of your own end is so difficult. And I think that's the biggest thing. And contributing to my success, you've already mentioned it has to be the coaches I coach with, whether it be I started as an assistant for a year with Chris Burry, learned a lot from him. Then I had Brad Kern and Mike Pratt with me when we won provincials for the first time in midget. I mean, then Wamby came along and Mike Pratt and great staff again. Then I've been doing Pat Sampson, myself, Pete McIsaac, and Pee Wee, and I learned all about Pee Wee from Pat. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know what to do in Pee Wee. Because 12-year-olds are completely different than 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And ever since, it's been me, Matt Wambolt, and Pete McIsaac. And I think this is our 7th year together, and we've just never looked back. And I'm a firm believer in when you find a staff that works great, that's what gives a team success. I think a team can pick up when the coaches get along and when the coaches are in sync and when they're not. And our chemistry has really worked well together. And I think that gives us a good recipe for success.
It helps that Wamby has like a great place that you can go and have post-game chats, right? So
yeah, good meeting spot.
Yeah, it's great meeting spot. A little bit of a watering hole.
Yeah, just like you guys are there. We bounce ideas off you guys. We talk about things, and
there's about 4 hockey boards like all around the bar in his basement. It's like with markers at the ready. Oh, and there's our host coming in here, boys. Jesse Surley's coming in hot. But yeah, no. Guess we'll wait for him to hop on. There's Jess.
What's going on, Jess?
Rosie.
What's going on, buddy? Is your audio there good, bud, or what?
No.
Is your audio working, Jess, or what?
Not me this time.
Oh my gosh. Oh, damn. It's all good, whatever.
Great quick for you, buddy. Question for you, man. What was it like?
There we go. Now I can hear you guys.
There we go.
Greg, what was it like, coming from, Ben and I, we used to live in Edmonton, we kind of dissected that a little bit when Ben came on the first episode when he got introduced to the team here. What was that like? Like, what was the biggest difference you found? Like, was it speed, size difference? What did you notice?
The biggest difference I noticed when I moved out there, because I played midget AAA the first year I played out there. The biggest difference I noticed was just the size of the players. And I was a bigger kid, like playing here on defense, but I was like by far the smallest defenseman when I moved out west. Like They're all farm boys. And the physicality, and it was a lot more structured out there, I find. Like compared to here, they're a lot more loose with, letting skill show and all that stuff. Out there it was very systemed, like get the red line, pucks go deep. I mean, you take care of your own end. If anyone touches your goalie, you put them on the ice. Like it was still very old school out there at that time. And they take hockey out there a lot more seriously with their training. Like, for example, like our team, I imagine you guys know when you guys played midget and Bantam and stuff growing up, your off ice consisted of going to like Lee Alges, where it was like you're in a racquetball court doing wall taps or like push-ups. And that was like your off ice training. Whereas when I got out there, our off ice training was in a legit like hockey gym, fake ice all over the place. Your skates were on for like the treadmill. There's a crossover machine. There was a stick handling machine. Like they were so far ahead of everything compared to what we have out here. And I know the population has a lot to do with it, but
and I think too, probably having an NHL team too. Being out west, like I remember when I lived in Edmonton, man, like they got the Oilers, they got the Oil Kings, they got the they had, when the lockout happened, they established the Roadrunners as well. For people that don't know, that was a league that they established when the 2006 lockout happened in the NHL. They just have such a so many hands in the pot with that stuff. And I think I know can go to bat as well with for Ben. Like that was a big thing we noticed too, Ben. Just like it was, I think Bedford as a whole, like I used to play for the Bedford Blues. That probably still is and was at the time the biggest population organization here in Metro. And
it's east of Quebec City.
Yeah,
the biggest one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when looking at our minor hockey system, it's growing, right? It's even growing in 2021, and it's amazing to watch for sure.
Billy, what do you got over there for big Greg?
Yeah, couple questions. I mean, you were talking about kind of like the training and stuff, but I got a couple. Like Ben said and Nick said that you were coached Pee Wee AAA with Bedford and also midget AAA. So do you think, like, my first question is, do you approach a season differently depending on what level you're coaching? So say if you're coaching Pee Wee AAA 1 year and then next year you're coaching, I don't know how many years, between levels that you change, but depending on the age of the guys that you're coaching, do you kind of change things up a little bit?
For sure. That was one of the biggest problems I had with going to Pee Wee. I did midget for 4 years, three or 4 years, I can't remember. And then when I've been in Pee Wee now for 8. And I remember coaching midget and coaching Pee Wee the problems are so much different. Like the problems in midget are like guys have girlfriends. I mean, guys have schoolwork, guys have jobs, like all that type of stuff. They have to worry about school. Whereas in Pee Wee, you're dealing with parents a lot more. You're dealing with kids still have that expectation they're going to make the NHL and they don't want to give up on that dream. Every kid still thinks they're the best player in the province. Not until we get to the Quebec tournament do they realize that that's probably not true. But it's a whole whack of different problems. And I credit Pat Sampson, who coached with me, because he coached the Pee Wee AAA team for 4 years. And when Sean McKenzie asked me to go down to Pee Wee, I told him I'd do it as long as Pat coached with myself and Peter McIsaac. Because I had no idea how to step into it. Like I had no idea how to talk to a 12-year-old, how to and you guys know when you coach midget, you barely even know the parents. Like they don't come around. Like
yeah, I know.
And so now it's all about dealing with parent issues. And even in Pee Wee, the team changes year to year so much. Like depending on the talent group we have coming up and the expectations, parents hate to set these expectations of the team, before the season even starts. And there are some years that we're expected to never lose a game. There's other years we're expected to finish first, and it's crazy. But yeah, definitely every team is unique, and figuring out the Pee Wee level is tough. But it's made me a better coach. I think it's important to know how to coach different levels. You got to handle a guy that's 18 and fully grown differently than a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, Greg, that must be interesting too, right? Like when you were coaching midget. You're dealing with players that have established habits on the ice, and they're kind of set with those habits. You can definitely develop and try and help out those habits if they're good or bad. What was that like? Stepping down from midget and then having kids like that are 12 years old, and they're just they look at a guy like you, a non-parent coach, and you're giving them a helping hand in a drill. And they go out and whatever you told them worked. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it's a really good feeling, especially when those kids still have such a passion for hockey, and the midget kids do too.
Oh yeah.
But
there's
like
always
you said,
there's always one or two, Greg.
There is one or two that shall remain nameless. Coach in midget. That I wish I didn't coach, but by the time they get to midget, they have, like you said, they have their habits and tendencies down as a player. If they don't have a great skating stride by then, they're not going to fix it by then. If they don't know how to cycle a puck properly, they're not going to learn or don't want to learn for the most part by that time. So in Pee Wee, there was a lot of things I had to actually learn myself on how to teach properly, like how to properly transition from a forwards inside edge to a backwards outside edge when transitioning properly. Like you can't just tell a kid at 12 years old, like, oh, just pivot. You have to explain to them how to do it efficiently, how to make sure you get the most speed going backwards.
Yeah.
But you can teach more to the younger kids because they want to learn. Like they want to figure out the game of hockey.
Yeah.
So we can teach them what a forecheck is and what a power play is. and we just give them these tools, and it's so cool to see them learn the game because they're coming from Adam and novice where they're basically told to chase a puck around. And the best player on the ice takes the puck, skates down, and scores. Like that's basically what Adam hockey is.
Yeah.
And we pride ourselves in taking kids and giving them a little bit of structure, being like, you don't have to go chase the puck. If you just stand here, this puck will come to you, and you'll put in a lot less work. And just explaining like to the goaltenders, like all the different things they have to do during a game. We teach them how to play a puck outside the net for the first time. There's a lot of cool things that when you see the light bulb go off in their head, it gives you that satisfactory feeling. Whereas in midget, all you can really do is put a system in place and hope it works with the players that you have on your team. You play to the strength of your team and hope for the best.
It's interesting you say that, Greg. Earlier in the episode, you were saying, teams win championships or do well when you start from the the defensive end of the ice and move forward. I actually did that this year with my group with Samet, and it's amazing. Like learning how to protect the house, and then if you have a team, especially that has offensive skill, it definitely makes a huge difference for sure. My last question for you, and then Ben and Billy and Jesse can ask you a couple more. What was it like, man, after winning it all, going to Atlantics, kind of winning the pinnacle trophy in your guys' league and around the Maritimes? What was that like, going into that next year? How did you guys deal with that pressure?
Well, it's funny you asked that. You guys know this story, but for those listening, I'll explain the story of.
We want Pierre Maguire's highlights of the game.
We were actually in the Atlantic final the year before with a team that didn't lose a game all year, basically. And we lost 1 or 2 in Quebec. And, we got to the Atlantic final and we lost to a really good Edmonton team in the final. And we were so that drive home from Edmonton to here after losing that gold medal game was the longest drive. I don't think I don't think we said a word. I think Wambi might have said 1 or 2 words on that whole 8-hour drive. It was just soul crushing. And
then I had to live with them.
It's been a long time for you. So the year after, we were crushed. And the year after, we had a group that we knew we were going to be like a second, third place team, just based on the kids coming back and how strong Tassa was going to be. And West Hands had this one kid he's now over in prep school somewhere, lighting it up. He'll be in the Q draft in a few years, but we knew we weren't going to be great. And everything just went right that year. We got to provincials, everything went right. Tassa got upset in the semifinal. We won the final in provincials. We go to this Atlantics in Pictou, and everything worked out where it was just every province that sent a representative upset their way there. So PEI's representative, I think, finished 4th in their regular season standings. New Brunswick upset somebody who upset the top team there. So they weren't great. We won every game 8-1, 7-1. We were crushing these teams. So when we beat Newfoundland in the final, it was almost, it didn't feel as good really. It felt great to win, but we didn't jump up and down. We kind of just shook hands and went to Boston Pizza afterwards and
got your shrimp tacos.
That's just Matt.
That's just Matt.
Chicken tacos are better.
I know.
Chicken are way better.
I know.
We just had a drink and we went home. The parents went to a party and stuff, but it was weird. It's when you finally accomplish something you've been chasing for so long and then it happens, there's this sense of relief that you did it.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole thing where we were supposed to move up to another level, and that's a story for another podcast. But
we'll get into that one.
That's an after dark podcast that needs to happen.
That's a rough one.
But going into the year after, all the parents asked that same question. They asked the parents that came onto our team said, "You guys literally won it all the year before. What do you what's your motivation this year? What are you guys here for?" And it was the first year of the provincial league for Pee Wee, and we said, you know what? It's the first year of this league. We're going to win the regular season. We're going to three-peat as provincial champions, something that's never been done. Because until we won that Atlantic title, no Nova Scotia team won it before. Bedford was the last one to win it, I think, in 2012.
Wow.
So it was a good 7 years. And Pete McIsaac was on both coaching staffs. He's the Atlantic's king. If you get Pete to Atlantic, he's taking it home. So, it was. we came into the year after that with a chip on our shoulder saying, you know what, let's do it the third time in a row because it's never been done. And we finished first. We're going into provincials riding high, and then, COVID happened. So
Fucking COVID.
yeah, not much you can do there, but
No.
Yeah. No.
so I will say the one thing we still want to do, and that's still on our list, that gives us that drive, is that Quebec tournament. And it's a pipe dream because it's so hard to win, but if we can find a way to pull it off, like that'll be the ultimate.
Wow.
Billy, you got anything else for him?
I'll pass it on to Jess. Jess, do you have any
Jess,
questions for him? For sure. Oh no, your audio's bad,
mute,
Jess.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah, check your screen there, Jesse. Move your mouse, and you're gonna have a mute or a video.
Yeah, want to make sure that you're getting your questions there too, bro.
Is it good now?
Yep.
There you go. Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, obviously me just joining in here. I got two questions, just like Nick and Ben were saying about the Quebec tournament. How was it like going into that?
It's such an eye-opening experience, not only for the kids, but for the parents as well. At that age, there's a lot of parents that think their kids are the best player around, which sometimes is true, sometimes it's not. Nova Scotia is a really small market. And when you get to this tournament that has 200 teams plus from around the world in it, and you see these teams from like the Czech Republic and Russia and France and the US, and you see some of these kids that are the same age and the things they're doing on the ice, it's wild. You swear you're watching a Moosehead game sometimes with like their power play setups and like the things they can do with a puck. Like a lot of times we just stand on the bench and laugh because we're like, what are we supposed to do against? When we were there 2 years ago, we played a team from the Czech Republic in the quarterfinals, and they actually won the tournament, and we played them in the quarters. One kid, if you guys know what a mohawk is or a Crosby edge, he did that the whole way down the ice with a puck on us, like while gaining momentum, not skating forwards, just mohawking. And he was just stick handling through our entire team, and we're just like what are we supposed to do here?
That's fun.
Didn't you guys coach against Ole Jokin or something like that?
Yeah, we coached against a few NHL guys. So we coached against Alex Kovalev. He had two black eyes, so he was.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Oh
he had some rough times. We coached against a few. There's Chris Pronger. There's a lot. We've seen a lot of NHL guys there. Like we saw Marty St. Louis in the tournament.
Yeah.
He was crushing beers in the Budweiser zone before going to coach. So
Billy repping St. Louis.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that shows you his confidence level. He's crushing beers in front of the parents and going on the bench and just coaching. So,
and
we've ever done that. It's not like we've ever done that, Greg, going in the Monctonian.
I mean, we might have done that in midget once or twice. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine for the kids you coached too for that Quebec tournament. I know the teams from Nova Scotia going into that, they get to represent the Mooseheads. I imagine the kids were pretty excited about that.
Yeah, we've only gone once as the Mooseheads because unfortunately now they do like a lottery draw for it.
Oh yeah.
So it used to be like the best team went. You used to have to like play down to earn your way there. So now they just send whoever wins the draw, and it's usually a mid-pack to bottom team. They just get smoked and they come home. Yeah. But we went there 1 year and it was awesome. Just seeing them with the Moosehead jerseys on, and every team wants to play you because Mooseheads has such like a storied history franchise. Everyone knows who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to play you. The kids get to wear those helmets. They get to wear the green pants, and it's really cool. It's really cool for sure. And that's one thing we want to do because Wamby's never been as the Mooseheads. And that's one thing we still want him to experience. It's a long trip though. Like if you go as the Mooseheads, you're there 2 weeks minimum. Like it's a long haul.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. Why is it so much longer, Greg, than say like a normal non-Moosehead?
Just that there's so if you're the Mooseheads, you're placed in like the upper main tournament. And there's just so many teams that like you'll play your first game on like a Tuesday and then you're off for like 5 days because there's so many teams.
Whoa.
And and the tournament sucks in the fact that it's only 2 games guaranteed. Like if you lose your first game, you go in the loser bracket. But if you win your first game, then lose your second, you're done. Like that's it.
Oh
wow.
Man.
Like yeah.
So it's like Sedma on steroids, basically.
Yeah, it's except no like what's the bottom, like Accord division? Is that the bottom
The
one?
Civic or something.
Yeah, you never want to be in that.
Yeah.
It's so cool talking to you, Greg, about that tournament, because like literally, like we're doing this, with the boys here. Like Ryan Whitney's been in that tournament. You know what I mean? Like he's talked about.
We got retweeted by him when we went 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
Before COVID, yeah, because we had a bunch of his Pink Whitney and stuff, and we're like, you know what? We're getting a retweet here.
That's
sick. Have a nice little display and
yeah.
But it's cool. Like you see a bunch of kids from around the world, and you're like, this is going to be a hockey player in a few years.
Yeah.
And so when we went as the Mooseheads, we got eliminated by some team from Edmonton, from St. Albert. They were so good, and there's kids on there. There's kids on there now that are playing like Div 1 college in the States. Like it's wild. Wow. We saw a kid. His name's Gavin Brindley from Florida, and I think he's 15 or 16 right now. He's going to be in the World Juniors for the U.S. Like without a doubt in my mind, in a few years.
Wow, that's cool.
Crazy, he's scoring like 3 goals a game in the top division against like the best teams in the world. Like
wow,
holy shit,
that's amazing.
He's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Then our kids want to play those teams, and we just say no.
Yeah, my ever question here for you is going back to the Atlantic Championships. I know you guys made back-to-back appearances in 2018 and 19. 2018 you finished second, and then 2019 you guys won it, obviously. Mm-hmm. Going into that the next year after you finished second, what was the mindset like? Were you guys like, okay, now we're gonna come back stronger and win it this year?
We wanted that in our minds. We knew our team, it was tough because we knew we had like the second best team in the province.
Yeah.
And we played TASA a few times. We tied them once that year, but the other games, they just kicked the you-know-what out of us. Like they just obliterated us. And we wanted to get back there so badly. Like after that crushing loss, we thought that was it. That was my third time in Atlantic. I lost twice down the gold medal game. I was like, man, what if I never get back here? And everything just went right that year. We're a big believer in the hockey gods.
Yeah.
And
they do exist. They do exist.
And we believe that if you do things the right way, you're going to get rewarded a lot of the times. And that TASA team, we're good friends with those coaches, but they did some things, especially in provincials, that the hockey gods wouldn't have enjoyed. Yeah. And I think it came back to bite them. And we just took advantage of the situation.
Yeah. So. No, it's totally true, man. We like for us with our year with some Mosaic, like we were going in the round robin. We beat Island View, we beat Millwood, and then we lost to and then we beat Eastern Shore, and then we lost to Sackville. And I remember we were going to the dressing room, and the boys were really deflated. And I said, boys, like we're gonna meet them in the final. We're gonna go into the first round against Millwood, and we're gonna beat them, and we're gonna meet Sackville in the final, and we're gonna win our regional banner. And that's why I said the boys, Greg. I said the hockey gods do exist, and we were playing good hockey at that point, and up until that point, and our goal was to win that banner, and it did happen. When good things are on your side, good things happen.
Something similar happened to us this year. Halifax was in our league this year. They didn't lose a game all year. We played them at the start of the year in exhibition. They beat us like 6-0. And I went into the room after the game and told the kids, I said, guys, here's the deal. I said, this team's going to run the regular season. When playoffs come, they're not going to win the league. I can guarantee you. I said, they're not going to win provincials. Been through this enough times. They're going to slip up. And we drew Halifax in the semifinal of our league. Sean, if Steve Ben's listening to this, sorry, this is how we beat you. Sean McKenzie came out with us for 3 straight practices, and we worked on taking away their defense in the offensive zone because they love to use their D and activate their D. And we just said, we'll take it away and we'll see what else they got. Take away their strength, make them play uncomfortable. And we ended up beating them 3-2, 3 power play goals. Hey, we'll take it. And it was the only game they lost all year. But the kids were like, oh, you told us this was going to happen at the start of the year. And look, and I was like, yeah, if you just like,
that's the best thing when you're on
ever.
the bench. You'll be on the bench, you'll be like, hey, you know what, you did this, you fucked up. Go out and do that. Go out and try this. And then they come out and then they either score a goal or they get an apple or something like that. And they look at you and they go, Hey, coach, guess what, man? It worked.
Yeah, if you call a face-off play or something and it works out, like it's a.
By the way, for the fans as well, if anyone wants an update on the Pee Wee AAA season for this coming season, follow their Twitter page. It is hilarious. It is full of Kramer Seinfeld memes. It is one of the funniest Twitter pages I've ever seen. I don't know if that's Greg. I don't know if that's you or a manager or something.
It is me that runs it. That was Pete McIsaac with the Seinfeld references. That's all him. That was his idea. It's been our good luck charm since we won Atlantic. So we've been rolling with it since. But
who ended up winning the league, Greg, for you guys in your
this year? Tassa won it.
Yeah, because you guys had a kind of a devastating loss to.
Well, you guys know how it's like, right? You beat a team that doesn't lose all year. The kids are so pumped up, they're celebrating. Then the very next day, you have to play another big time game.
Yeah.
And like Tass is just as good. I think they only lost like 2 or 3 games all year, and like we were so emotionally drained. Like just as a coach, you can watch your team in warm up sometimes, and you get that feeling. You're like, oh no. And we were watching us in warm up, and we looked down at Tassa, and we're like, oh boy. And it was unfortunate. But it is what it is. They played good.
I got a kind of a question for Ben and Nick and Greg. I guess we'll start with Greg just because you're the guest, obviously. But I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this too. What kind of adjustments would you make, or do you make, if your team's on a losing streak or if the morale is low on the team?
Oh, good question.
That's a good one.
So this is where I think, for myself, you need to know the type of team you have. You need to know if you have a type of team that if you bag state them, is that going to have a positive or negative effect on your team?
Yeah.
Because every group is different. And over the years, one of the things I've learned coaching is every individual is different. Some kids can be yelled at and respond. Some kids need to be coddled a little bit. Like everyone's different.
Yeah.
Me, myself, like for this year, when we were in a really bad losing streak and we had a practice that was tough and like battle drills and stuff, and it still didn't work out, then we just threw a puck out and warm up and said, you know what? We're going to scrimmage today. We're going to do a shootout. Like, let's have some fun. Let's laugh it off. Well, as a coach, you got to realize a lot of times you're going to have bad games. Like every team has a bad stretch during the year. And it's knowing. One thing I miss about midget is it doesn't happen in Pee Wee where you can trust some people in your room to help get your team out of that stretch. You can only do so much as a coach. Your voice gets old after a while. You need someone to step up and be that leader. But I think it totally depends on your team myself. I don't know what Ben and Nick have to say about it.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm sitting in a room with a lot of banners for provincials, and I still don't have one. But
I'm kind of going to go on Greg's side here too. I think I've been when I was assistant coaches, it was definitely a little different. You kind of take the seat back and kind of let your head coach determine what's going to happen. Like I remember when we were coaching our first year with Samet, we were on a tough skid, and I remember Ben and I and Brady at the time we tried different tactics. We tried bag skates, we tried a puckless practice, and those didn't really work out well. Sometimes they do. But like for me as a head coach, being the guy that's in the seat and can driving the bus, we had a tough game. I took the game sheet, the pink copy, and I had it, and I brought on the ice, and I got the boys to do a set of 30s until the thing was covered. And it's a really cliche thing, but at the end of the day, it's something that I wanted to try. And I think a lot of things when it comes to coaching, it's a lot of just learning, seeing the process. If this thing doesn't work, there's another practice. There's another day. There's another game. There's some games where I've gone in and I've kicked a garbage can, or I've sworn a couple too many times, and it hasn't worked. But yeah, I think it's a lot about your group. I think if you have a good support staff with your captains and assistant captains, they can definitely take a lot of the vocalness out of it. But if you don't have those individuals that are a little more quieter, sometimes you need to lean on your other assistant coaches as well. My coaches were a little quiet at the start. And then Greg Delano, he got really vocal. And then once we got into our playoff run, actually Pat Craig, who was one of the most quietest, humble guys I've known, he started even talking, and you know, it's all about asking for help, I think, when you're dealing with stretches. And you know, one thing Bill Short taught me this year is that I know a lot about hockey. All of us here on this podcast is even know a lot about hockey, but there's always someone in this world that knows more about the game of hockey. And I think that's one thing with asking for help and getting through the tough times is not a waving the white flag at all. It's a learning experience.
Yeah. 100%. Ben, what about you?
I've been through all of it. I've been coaching just maybe 1 or 2 years shorter than Greg. Been through it all, you know, 15-game losing streaks, 12-game losing streaks. Billy, you were on one of those teams. And at the end of the day, all that matters is if you punch your ticket to the big dance. They don't ask how you got there. Like they don't care. Like no one gives a shit if you got bag skated or you had to do set of 30s or Coach Younger was a fucking asshole. Like, you know, I did everything. I pulled the old Sean McKenzie and Rodney Watkins. You put the bucket in the center of the ice and you do suicides, and the first guy that pukes, you know, then you're done basically, right? I've done it all from playing to coaching. Jacob Keynes is a guy that really, really bought into punching your ticket to the big dance. And, you know, you want to get to that big dance. You want to dance with that pretty girl and, you know, you want to get that banner and you want to get that championship, whatever it is. I had to change my coaching style a lot. That's for sure. It goes down and stems down to, and this is not a chirp to any of my older coaches. It's just the way the times were back then. You coach sometimes the way that you were coached, and that side of you comes out every once in a while. But to get out of those slumps, this year was the only year I've coached anything lower than midget in high school. Going to Bantam AA, great bunch of kids. There were some things that happened there that I wish that didn't happen, but needed to happen. And then we went on a 3-game winning streak to end the year. So with the help of Younger, you have to listen to your players too. Like if they have an idea for a line that you didn't think about, why not just fucking give it a try, right? Like my first year, second year coaching, wouldn't have done it. Not a chance. Nope, they're my lines. Nope, that's my coaching staff's lines. Nope. This year, when they would come up to me at practice at Bantam AA, they would be like, Younger, you know, can we try this one? Can we try this line? You know what? Nothing's really worked up to this point. Why not just give it a try? Throw out whoever's out. And sometimes it's better to have a short bench because you get to see all those different line combinations together because you got one guy that's out, right? So you're switching guys up all the time. So yeah, it's a combination of things. You do eventually get out of it, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the hockey gods. If you work your tail off, they will see it, they'll feel it, and it will turn around for you.
Yeah, just to sum up those two guys, like I agree with what they both said. Like what Ben said about I'm a totally different coach now than when I started, like completely different. And he's right that you model your coaching after guys that coached you before.
Yeah.
And you try to pull the best things you remember about those coaches. Because that's why you got into coaching in the first place. You probably had a coach when you played that you were like, man, this guy made a positive impact on me. I want to give back like that guy did. And Nick was right too about always learning. We always make sure we try to learn anything possible. You know, we're at all these seminars, we're at anything we can get to. So we want to learn. One of the best things I ever saw was when I did my High Performance 1. For those that don't know, the High Performance 1 coaching course is like, if you want to coach like Major Junior and like the World Junior team, I don't think I'm getting a call anytime soon by any means, but like Troy Ryan was there, and Troy Ryan was an instructor for the course. He was giving a presentation. Now he's the women's national head coach, like coaching the Dalhousie women, like very good coach, like high level guy. When someone else is giving a presentation, he's there with a notebook, writing notes, like taking down as much as he can take down.
Yeah.
And someone of that caliber to still sit there, write notes, say, I like that, and like writing things down. So like, I think it's a good lesson for anyone that wants to get into coaching. Never think you have all the answers. My first few years of midget, I for sure fell in that trap. I thought I could do no wrong. And I got humbled quickly when the end of the year came. Like we'd win provincials, get to Atlantics, losing limits. So, just always be willing to learn is a good question. But if we knew how to slip out of a slid, then you'd be coaching in the NHL, because you saw even Toronto doesn't know how to slip out of a slid.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, that leads us right into I think our hot topics, Jess.
Yeah.
What are we talking about tonight, man? Like, was there a game? Was there a game last night or something? Was there a big game?
There was Game 7, Leafs Habs. I guess I'll start on my opinions here. I honestly, going into it, I knew the Habs would probably take it just because of the Leafs history, as much as I feel bad for Leafs fans. And I know a lot of people are blaming Matthews and Marner, but I mean, you look at the Habs defense, and when they're locking it down, they're gonna make it hard on your best players to score. I mean, that's what they're gonna do in the playoffs. They're gonna target your best players and shut them down the best they can. So I think even though the Leafs did choke, I think both teams did play good in the series. And I know a lot of people were blaming Jack Campbell too, which I thought he played great all series long. And obviously you got Price for the Habs too, which he's just phenomenal in the playoffs.
I think there was a lot of, and obviously there's so much to dissect from this game too, but like, I think what it boils down to is, regardless of if the Habs won or lost, for their sake, whether they won or lost Game 7, they would be like going into the next round or going home with their heads held high for sure. Because it's like I don't think that they, had they lost, I don't think that you would have to change much on this team, especially with just like you were down 3-1, you weren't scoring goals, you had 4 goals in 4 games, no points from your defenseman. Like, what the hell is going on? And then you surmount, you do make this comeback and you win, and again, obviously winning, like we've talked about a lot, winning covers up a lot of maybe the problems and stuff, but I think Montreal has a real connection there, internally and stuff, and everything's going good there. With Toronto, man, obviously it's crushing, but you got to look at it realistically, and what does Toronto really need to change for next year? People are just like, oh man, which the first post I saw after they lost was, all right, so which one of the big three is getting traded? Nylander, Matthews, or Marner? And I'm like, dude, none of them. I'm like, no. People are shitting on Mitch Marner. It's like, yeah, you should produce more, but you really think the answer is trading him?
No.
They might do it. They
maybe. But
to me, that's not the answer. But again, I'm just a guy sitting here in my room, right? Like maybe Sheldon Keefe and Dubas have other plans, So I wouldn't shake up too much for the Leafs, but I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said in previous episodes too, I don't really like the Habs, but I think it's good for Ducharme. I'm happy for him. Obviously he coached the Moosehead, so gotta be happy about that. So,
Greg, as the Habs fan, how are you feeling about last night?
I mean, glad they won. Obviously, did not think it was going to happen at the start of the series. Being honest, I think they shot themselves in the foot a lot in the series. And what I mean by that is I still don't understand the decision not to dress like Caulfield or Kotkaniemi for 2 games. Like, that was absolutely mind blowing, especially down the stretch when like those were the only 2 producing any offense at all. Montreal, so they played playoff hockey. I mean, they played playoff hockey, especially in games 5, 6, and 7. They played their top 4 defense a gross ton of minutes.
Oh yeah.
They got the line matchup. Say what you will, Deneau, Evans, and Gallagher shut down Matthews' line for the whole series. The whole series. Ducharme did a good job getting that matchup. And this is twice now. Matthews came out after the series and said Deneau's the hardest center he ever played against. McKinnon said that last year. Deneau is a pain in the ass to deal with, that's for sure. But Montreal they played so smart in their D zone. They forced Toronto doesn't like dumping pucks in, so they kept stepping up on Toronto in the neutral zone, forced them to make plays. They panicked, and they scored on their opportunities. When they got chances, they scored. And it's bittersweet because, Pete and Matt, the guys I coach with, they're big time Leaf fans.
No.
Big, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my phone was blowing up from Wamby during the game. But, it's bittersweet for Leaf fans because even as a Habs fan, you got to feel for them. Like, it's been 17 years since they won a playoff series. As to how you fix that team, like, I don't believe you got to get rid of the big three or any of the players. But at the same time, Marner hasn't scored in 17 playoff games. Matthews, you can just see like they're playing regular season hockey in the playoffs, and it doesn't work like that. I don't think those guys are capable of driving a team through the playoffs. You look at a team like Boston, or a team like Colorado, or a team like Tampa Bay. Their star players, when the playoffs come, their star players elevate their game that much more.
Yeah.
They go to another level. Like Pasternak goes to another level. McKinnon goes to another level. Kucherov goes to another level. Toronto got no production from their top two guys. They got no production from their depth. Nylander and Spezza were the only forwards that showed up. Anyone that blames Campbell is an idiot because Campbell had just an outstanding series.
Yeah.
Like he was, if not for Campbell, game 6 is 5-0 Montreal going to the third period. Campbell was outstanding in that series. Yeah. And Carey Price was equally as outstanding. So, I feel for Leaf fans. I don't know what the answer is. They have 3 draft picks. They have a 2nd, a 5th, and a 6th coming up. They got rid of all their others. They have 6 forwards off the books that they need to re-sign. Hyman is up for an extension. Anderson's going to leave in net. They have a lot of work to do. But I don't know how you fix it.
Yeah. You guys are taking a lot of the words out of my mouth. Big thing for me, boys. I don't know where the Leafs go. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know where Shanahan. I don't know what Shanahan and Dubas are going to be doing. This is the Shanny phase, right? We're 6 years into this. The Leafs got Babcock out of town. They brought in Sheldon Keefe. This year, Dubas went out, and I thought he addressed a lot of the issues that the Leafs were lacking this year with bringing in guys like Zach Bogosian, Jason Spezza, Nick Foligno, big accusation in the trade deadline. Wayne Simmons as well. I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to the point with the Leafs, man. I'm not a Leaf fan. I got a lot of buddies that are Leaf fans.
Jumbo Joe too.
Yeah, Jumbo Joe, big one there too, Jess. I'm getting to the point though with the Leafs. I made my first Facebook status last night in almost 2 years, saying LOL Leafs 5 years in a row, and there's just no more excuses. I don't know. I don't understand how a team with that much skill. You look at Edmonton. Get kind of switching gears. They got swept, but Edmonton doesn't have the depth that the Leafs had. Edmonton didn't have those guys. And it's like what Greg was saying, Montreal played playoff hockey. And, my heart, it's like what Greg was saying, your heart does go out for the Leafs fans, but I have no sympathy at the same time because the Dubas has done as much as he can. Where do you go? What do you do? You can't trade Matthews, Marner, or Nylander. You can't trade John Tavares. You can't trade Morgan Riley. I think, is he up for a contract renewal, boys?
Yeah, not this year, but next year.
Yeah, you got to sign him. Anderson, like what Greg was saying, Anderson's going to be gone.
Let's not forget, Matthews only has 3 years left. And
exactly.
If they keep losing, Matthews isn't sticking around.
See you later. Going to the States, playing in Arizona, not a big deal.
Hometown,
yeah. But man, this is my last thing I'm going to say. I'm really happy for the Habs. I got chirped pretty hard wearing that jersey on the podcast by Wamby. But man, you gotta lift your caps off to a team that was down 3-1 against that team and come back and force Game 7 and dominate the way they did. By the way, boys, the amount of people that chirped Carey Price for being a contract heavyweight anchor goalie can fuck off, and he won that series.
Earned every dollar.
He was unreal in Game 5, 6, and 7.
I don't want to hear any person say he shouldn't be the starting goalie for Canada in the Olympics. I don't want to hear any argument.
He's the best.
You're wrong.
He's the best, man. I was calling Ben last night during the game, And Ben and I were like literally like, oh my God, like literally like jumping out of our seat because of the saves he was making. And the better team won. I think they got a really good chance against the Jets. I think that's going to be a really interesting series. I'm really excited though for the Habs. Really excited. And the Leafs got to figure this shit out, or else guys are going to leave and they're going to be in a big rebuild.
Carey Price turns it on. Like, he's the most clutch goal I've ever seen in my entire life. It's unbelievable because it's like he can have like 20. People are always saying, like, it's like you said, Greg, it's like, people chirping Carey Price and stuff. And the thing that keeps coming back is it's not 2015 anymore. It's like, it's not 2015. Look at his numbers. It's just like, was he the best goalie in the regular season? No, not even close. Like, he wasn't the best goalie in the regular season. But when it matters, when it's like, okay, you helped your team, who is also not very good, into the playoffs. And then he literally is just like, okay, beast mode time. And he just does his thing. And it's like, I'm a Pens fan. Last year in the bubble, you knew, you just knew. It's like,
sorry about that one.
Listen, I literally, as a goalie, I was just like, obviously it sucked, but I was just like, man, like, you got to appreciate what he's doing. And he's
I felt so bad for. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's I saw today he was like he's the first player in NHL history to get paid $10 million or more to win a playoff series. Who gets paid over $10 million to win a playoff series? Which I don't know, take that as you will, but that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead there, bud.
I'll take Carey Price over Darcy Kemper any fucking day.
Oh yeah. By the way, yeah. Oh,
it's just sad. I don't know what Luongo was
that tournament, and as a whole, the World Championships is so weird right now. And
we got into the quarterfinals. I don't think we're gonna do that good though.
They're playing Russia. That's a 10-0 loss.
Yeah. I'm repping the jersey, but
very quick, boys. This is a bit of a question for all you boys, especially Greg, since being a Habs fan. The media was saying like, this could, this was coming to the end of the rebuild, the end of the time with Price and Gallagher and all those guys, but you got guys on that team like, Caulfield's unreal. Suzuki, Jesperi Kotkaniemi showed big fuck you to to getting healthy scratch there. Where are the Habs right now? Do you think, Greg?
They're in such a weird spot. Like as fans, we don't know if they're rebuilding, if they're competing. Like, if you guys remember those Leafs teams from like probably 5-7 years ago, this is the spot they were in. They'd always like just sneak into the playoffs, give you a little bit of hope, make a round or two, then leave.
Yeah.
And that's what the Habs are. Like, we have so much young talent, and the problem with having this young talent is we've seen it in years past. Like, hey, we had Michael Sergachev. No, let's trade him. We had Ryan McDonough. No, let's trade him. Like they have no patience with these kids, and not playing Romanov in the playoffs, I'm hoping doesn't sour that relationship.
Yeah.
But it's exciting for the kids for the future. It sucks that, by the time they're ready to take over, Price is going to be, he's not going to be as dominant anymore just with his age. You see Shea Weber, he's slowing down already, even though he eats big minutes.
He by the end of that game 7 last night, God love him, he looked like he was going to fall down like a tree.
He needed an oxygen tank or something. Like he was ready to collapse. I disagree with you about them with Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg's going to smoke them just because they're a big strong team. Deneau's line has no one to shut down on Winnipeg. It's not like Winnipeg has a big dominant line that they can shut down. They have a lot of more depth than Toronto has for scoring, and they're not scoring lucky goals on Connor Hellebuyck. So
that's true too. That's a big thing.
It's a tough matchup, and plus they're going to get smoked game one. It's going to look like what Vegas looked like against Colorado. Like, Montreal's going to be tired. Winnipeg's going to be off for 2 weeks.
So from what you're saying, Greg, if say this doesn't go your way, are you what would be your satisfying game limit here? 5, 6?
Listen, we took Toronto out. That's our Stanley Cup, man. I don't care if Montreal loses 8-0 every game to Winnipeg here. Like, whatever.
True.
Like, eventually Price is gonna have a bad game. Like it's gonna happen. Like
It's going to come down to the goalies, though. That's a good matchup. Hellbuck and Price. I'm excited to see that.
yeah,
For sure.
Sportsnet for sure wanted Toronto Edmonton, but they got Montreal.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Fucking Edmonton and Toronto first round. Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. If you replay those series over, it probably goes different. But
yeah, I'm sure the EA Sports NHL 21 simulators are probably like scratching their head a little bit.
Yeah.
They're probably like, we fucked up there.
Yeah.
What's on the next topic, Jess?
Draft the lottery tomorrow night.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Next hype with the Sens.
Taylor's got a stiffy like as big as my hair right now.
Don't even, pandemic season. Don't really know what really the prospects are coming out of this year with half the teams not playing.
No one played, man.
I
No
know.
one played.
I don't know.
yeah,
I didn't even. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot. I don't even know who's. I don't know anyone in this draft class.
I think the consensus first pick is Owen Power from.
Is it?
He's a Canadian defenseman,
Gotcha.
but he played in the States, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only guy that I kind of know is Kent Johnson. I think is his name.
Mhm.
He played what, Michigan State or University of Michigan, and then the year before he played in the BCHL, I think, for the Trail Smoke Eaters, I think.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be top. I think Craig Button put him top 10, but he might have slipped. But
And they got the brother of Jack and Quinn Hughes too, Luke Hughes.
Luke Hughes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that guy in the Mooseheads is ranked. Depending on which one you read, he's either ranked like 15 or like late first round. That Zach LaRue.
Oh, Zach LaRue,
Yeah, Zachary.
He's up there. Like I know Wynot is in the second round, but like how are you supposed to judge like the OHL and WHL kids? Like
Exactly.
Well, we were talking there with Greg Dobson in our last episode, and he's got his cousin, wasn't it, boys? That's playing for the Charlottetown Islanders, and like Greg made a good point. Like you can't really, this year as a whole, is so interesting because literally those three teams played each other 35 games. Like it's going to be the scouts. This is what's going to be interesting. The scouts and the GMs of the NHL teams going to this draft lottery will have to find some minor hockey footage of these players to be 100% sure that these kids are going to be coming in representing the Sabres and the Sens and the Red Wings of the league, right? Like, Buffalo has the 16% chance of getting it. Hopefully they do, because they need a break. As much as Buffalo sucks, they got to have something good go for them at some point. You know what I mean? We talked about that there the other day when I came on the first time, and the draft lottery is interesting, man. It's a fun night to watch, and I'm excited to see if my Sens can maybe get a good chance at that pick. But Tim Stutz is going to win us a cup, so that's okay.
And I got the odds up here. Obviously, Buffalo with the best odds. Then Anaheim, Seattle with 10.3%. New Jersey also 10.3%. Columbus fifth best odds. 6 Detroit. San Jose, LA, Vancouver, Ottawa, Arizona, Chicago, Calgary, Philly, Dallas, and the Rangers.
How was Ottawa on that list twice, or did I just
no
just
10th?
So they're 10th.
Yeah.
What I thought Ottawa was way closer at getting.
No, they had a huge run at the end of the year. They won a bunch of games.
Yeah. Do you think, Nick, as an Ottawa fan, is that frustrating for you? Because it's like your team sucks and it's whatever.
No,
they do well. So
it's a good question, Billy. Like, it's kind of a yes and no. At the same time, you want your team to maybe have the best chance of getting one of the top 5 players in a draft at any point. The Sens have had a lot. We've had a lot of players drafted here in the last 5 years, probably since the Duchesne trade happened. When he went to Nashville, when he went to Nashville, and we got Erik Karlsson traded as well, Mike Hoffman, et cetera, et cetera. You can go on that list of the players that got traded on that after that 2017 run. It's kind of a bummer. You're like, you could get the first pick, but at the same time, as a fan, it was really nice to watch those games. Like, when we beat the Oilers, we didn't beat the Oilers. We lost 9 against them. But, when we beat the Leafs there in the last game of the season, we were getting on a bit of a roll. It's kind of a promising thing to watch, to see your team finally getting over that hump and seeing these young players scoring. I think Josh Norris is unreal. Batherson, Stützle, Kachuk's on his own level. Shabbat is an elite talent. I think you're just going to start seeing the change of the league. I think you really are. I think you're going to see a lot of teams that were on that bubble for a long time that did not play well in a regular season start to make the playoffs or start to be in a bubble. Like the Sens were 8 points out. Like they could have fought with Montreal if Montreal,
lost a few games, something like that. Yeah.
No, it's always interesting, man. The draft lottery for sure.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to mention too is with the changes to the lottery this year, they did say Buffalo will guaranteed pick no lower than 3rd overall. So they will get a top 3 pick.
Yeah. I'm excited for the coming up drafts. That Connor Bernard kid that was playing in the summer tournament. The U18 World Championships.
Yeah,
that kid's gonna be fucking unreal. By the way, like he's that goal he scored in that final when he backhand bar down on that defenseman. Shane Wright, he's another guy to look out for. You can go on and on about that team. That team was unreal. Like there's the next year's draft is going to be cool to see.
Yeah. And talking a bit about the Wings for the lottery too, hoping they get a good pick in this lottery too. I know last year I was hoping they would have got that number 1 pick, but but we got a good pick out of it from last year. We got Moritz Seider, who's tearing it up. He won best defenseman in the Swedish Hockey League this year. And that's the thing about Steve Yzerman too. He knows talent when he sees it, and he can make some great draft picks too. So
he made Tampa what they are.
And so I think no matter where we pick, I think we're gonna get a good player out of it for sure.
Yeah. What's up next, Jess?
We gotta talk about game 1 though. Game 1 of the Knights and Avalanche. I think that's Sorry I didn't mean to take the reins from you there, Jess, but that's something that I definitely wanted to make sure we talk about today.
I was actually gonna say that.
Perfect. Okay. And it's funny you were talking about Steve Yzerman and like good GMs because that was the first. I think this was the first or second game that I watched Colorado like full. I mean, they always play late. I'm just not watching them. Whatever. I'll give it over to Ben here in a second. Like, holy shit, this team is unreal. Like, oh my God, Nathan MacKinnon. But it's not even just Nathan MacKinnon. Their entire they got like 5 or 6 guys that if you put them on any other team, they would be like they would be like either the best or second best player on that team.
It'd be like an all-star team.
No, it's unbelievable. And their power play is fucked. And
they're missing Kadri.
And they're missing Kadri,
Go ahead there, Ben.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Kadri's not even really hurting their lineup though, right? All I have to say is Nathan MacKinnon and Greg, you touched on it. He is an absolute farm animal. Like he is on some other planet, and I am an Oilers fan, but as of right now, I saw something on Twitter the other day. Who are you taking, McDavid or McKinnon? And right now, I'm taking Nate. 100.
Hell yeah.
There's no question. It's not even a question. The guy is absolutely demolishing. First off, Vegas should not have put Leonard in the net.
Yeah, no.
I get it. You give Fleury the break, but you have, Greg, you have to ride your hot goaltender.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
If Pete DeBoer fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you putting Fleury in the net, Greg? I'm putting Fleury.
Oh, 100%. He's a Vezina finalist. Like he's probably going to win the Vezina this year. Him or Vasilevsky. Like you got to ride the hot hand. That would be like Montreal not playing Price in game 1 tomorrow and James Allen throwing in.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
Put the no funds with Boyan.
I'm with you though. If I'm starting an NHL team, I want McKinnon over McKinnon. And it's probably a hot take, but I mean, even you as an Oilers fan, Ben, like you said it too. Like what he can do in the playoffs is just. And he saw it last year in the playoffs.
Did you guys see that goal coming off the fucking neutral zone? He just fucking
watch that live. Literally,
It's
I
like
felt
gone.
I felt so bad for Kale Clegg, like that defensive
Dude, he
play.
was
That
literally-
poor guy. He was probably like,
He
"Oh
was-
my god."
he was pivoting before McKinnon got the puck on his stick, and he was like, "I gotta fucking pivot."
That was
This
McKinnon
guy
of old when he was with the
Oh,
Mooseheads. I don't know if you guys
fuck.
remember. Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
would hit his own blue line. And,
Gone.
and I remember being at a game with Younger and Wamby and Greg. I'm sure I've seen you at a couple games.
Oh, yeah. Might not remember.
Nope.
Couple Mountain Dews.
He'd hit his own blue line though,
Oh,
and you're
Oh.
just like you're like it's like that song. It's like oh no. It's,
It's true,
Yeah.
man.
fucking gone.
yeah.
They can't catch him, and it's like in the outdoor game on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Petrangelo.
Petrangelo goes, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yo.
I was just gonna mention that too. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, he
Any
was.
defenseman on Vegas right now, it's just like, oh,
Are you
come.
fucking
Like,
kidding me?
I
The one
have,
on
to go,
Petrangelo, like
I have to go out with him.
the one on Petrangelo was more impressive because he's like one of the top 5D in the league, and
Oh.
for him to be like, "Oh my god," like here we go.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
Bit of a change of thing on that series. Ryan Reeves got suspended 2 games for
That was greasy
Yeah.
as fuck.
that incident with Alex Gravens in front of the net.
Hmm.
Yeah, obviously we got Benzing put on that. Very quick on me. I think that 2 games was maybe just enough. I think that was very much an attempt to injure. I feel really bad for Alex Graves. Ryan Reeves' knee was on his face basically in that scrum.
Hold up. Did
And-
you just say Alex Graves?
Yeah, it's definitely Ryan Reeves.
That's
Ryan,
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
It happens. We're live. We're live here. We're live here. Live at 5 at Bruce Briscoe. You know,
Fix it post. Fix it post. Fix it
Yeah.
post.
I thought maybe 4. Ryan Reeves. Oh my God, Ryan Reeves plays on that line. He plays on that. That's kind of in the middle of being greasy and a bit of a goon. Still, I don't like using that term, but he is a live at 5 with Bruce Briscoe, Paul Bissonnette. That's what Matt Cook and them did, right? Like.
Mhm.
I like that. Sometimes I like that part of the game, but Ryan Reeves, he's trickling that line of not being in the NHL, right? Like this is examples right here of attempt to injure, and I think it could have gone a lot worse for him for sure.
Well, man, let's get it out of the way and say okay, the reason why obviously he went after Graves specifically was because of his earlier hit on Matthias Janmark, which I'm so happy, and unless something comes out today or something came out, that I doubt that Graves is going to get any type of discipline for that, which he shouldn't, because
It was a good hit.
Of
It was a good
course.
hit.
Dude, if that
clean.
happened, Matthias Janmark is like the smallest guy on Vegas, and
Yeah.
Ryan Graves is one of the biggest guys in the league. He's 6'6", something like that, big boy. And it's like, dude, if you lay that hit on like Matt Martin, no one's saying a word. There's not even a penalty.
No.
Even if it was a second later, it's probably not even a penalty. But it's because it's Matthias Janmark, and because this guy's a big boy, and he goes down, whatever. It's like, dude, he got injured. I don't even think it should have been a penalty. It was an interference penalty. It shouldn't have even been a penalty.
I agree.
You hit anyone else, even if they fall down, they're getting back up, and even if they don't get back up, it's like, okay, well, yeah, you
But
fell awkwardly.
the thing is, right quick, my last thing about this, the NHL player safety is so hit or miss. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had that incident with Tom Wilson where he only gets a fine, but then you get, Nazem Kadri with 8, you get Ryan Reeves with 2. You don't know what way the NHL player safety is going to go. You don't know what ways George Peros is going to hand out these suspensions to players, right? So, I think that's an interesting topic too. Like, players are, they're not done. They watch those suspensions, and they're kind of maybe picking and choosing when they take a leap or let off a bit, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What's your take, Greg? Yeah, go.
Like Janmark's driving the net as a small guy and dishes the puck off. Like what Matt Wamble, he always says, he has this famous quote: "Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes." And as a small guy doing the net in the playoffs, you're going to get smoked. Like you just got it, it's coming. And he admired his play, got hit. I mean, Graves kept his elbow tucked, arm down, didn't hit him in the head, hit him in the chest. Like,
Yeah, I think at
good
this
hockey
point,
hit.
I don't think at
And
this
then
point he's going
Reeves-
to get suspended.
The only thing Reeves did wrong was, he broke the code. Once you throw a guy to the ice, you're like that's it. It's supposed to be over. Like, you don't pile on him, even in a fight or something. Like, a guy falls to the ice, like, that's it. You walk away. And he should have thrown him down, and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Or I agree with, I forget who said it, but someone was like, if you want to get him back, just dump a puck in his corner, go and hit him. Like, let him know you're there. Yeah, he took it too far. Like you guys said, just over the line. And player safety is just absolute mess. Absolute mess.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like you guys said about McKinnon too, how he's just such a great player too. I mean, you look at the team they have with all the talent they have, like McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, Kayla McCarthy, Brandon Saad. I mean,
Can we talk about Kayla McCarthy? Some of the things he does on the blue line with the puck, like,
Unreal.
what the hell is that?
Unreal.
like what is that?
He's
Like,
kinda-
he's opening his hips and doing things. I'm like, whoa.
If I could have had a defenseman in any of the years that I coached, and I had some pretty great D, but if I had a Kayla McCarthy,
Like,
man,
dude,
like,
It is
you get
I just hope Sakic.
C, you would get the C, you would get the best Gatorade, you would get like anything you wanted, man. Anything you wanted, go. Let's go.
I just hope Sakic's good at his tap manipulation, because like these guys are going to want a bunch of money. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, I hope I don't know if he can do what Tampa and Boston did to convince all these guys to take like the small contracts. Because like McCarr's due what this year? I think McCarr's due. Landeskog is due.
Yeah.
Next year McKinnon's contract's over. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
it's gonna be like the things that McCarr does, because all the time, like now I think of Cal McCarr and immediately I just think of when he's dragging the puck along the blue line, he'll mohawk and just fuck guys up. And it's so funny. It's so awesome. And then he just
the best players in the world too. Like the best players in the world in the NHL, and they're falling for it. Like,
literally. And it's, oh my gosh. And this isn't like a seasoned, like 25-year-old guy. It's not like Kirill Kaprizov is 25 and is doing his shit. Kel McCarr's what, 20? No, 21 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been a son.
Oh my. I don't even.
Here's the thing with that though, boys. Okay, we're going back to the draft for a second. You all y'all could have gotten Nail Yakupov.
No, Yakupov. What's he doing?
Hey, we took Galchenyuk after Yakupov, so suck on that one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, Jesse, what do you got next, bud?
Yeah, we can talk about the Bruins and Islanders too.
Yeah, I think that should be the last thing. Bruins Islanders.
Yeah, my last thing, boys, for the night on that series. Really happy that the Islanders won last night. They were digging deep in the corners. Yeah. You know, they really, really deserve that win. But at the end of the day, I think this series is going to Boston because I think Boston is just too goddamn big and they're manhandling them in the corners. And Jordan Eberle's getting thrown around like a wet noodle. You know, I think, but again, I'm that guy. I look at it both ways. I think that the Islanders could win this series because it's Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz is a really, really good coach. And, you know, Boston, is big, bad Bruins. They're scary. They got, they got Marchand, they got Bergeron, they got Pasternak. Tuukka Rask has been playing amazing, by the way, especially after the year he had with leaving the bubble with personal reasons. But I think it's gonna be interesting to see who wins Game 3. I think with the Islanders splitting at home, the home games for Bruins, that's fucking huge. So, but I do have the Bruins coming on top, just because they're more experienced and they're bigger and stronger.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there too, Nick. But I was also happy the Islanders won that game too. Again, going back to where I don't really like the Habs, don't really like the Bruins either.
I fucking hate the Bruins.
Oh,
they're like my least favorite team in the NHL, I think.
So
it's the commentators, man.
Jack
Edwards.
Jack Edwards can literally eat my entire penis. I fucking hate that guy.
I hope the Islanders win that series, but I don't know. I think Boston will take it.
What are you thinking, Greg? What do you think on that series, bud?
Never bet against Barry Trotz. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it matters who wins it, because I think they're going to run into Tampa next series and just get steamrolled. So
Yeah.
same as Montreal, Winnipeg playing their series, I think it's a waste of time, because the winner's playing Colorado and they're going to get absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
So
I'll be
I'd
happy
say-
when stuff goes back to normal for division alignment for sure.
yeah. I mean, I think the Islanders are going to take it in 6. I'd say.
Yeah.
I think
That'd be unreal.
the way they're playing, man. Like, they looked outmatched game 1, then game 2 they adjusted and they dominated the game. Like, they looked a lot better.
Kyle Palmieri's been on another planet since he's come from New Jersey too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, New Jersey's a whole nother mess. Like, that team's just,
I feel bad for Nico Hischier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
I'm going to agree with Greg. I'm not just copying him here. As soon as he said it, I already had it in my head.
Smart hockey minds think alike, Ben.
Got a lot of silver medals in the tickle trunk, but don't worry about that. No, I got Islanders in 6, because I think that Varlamov can steal you a series, and then and their other guy there too. I think
Sorokin.
Sorokin. I think you got a 1A. I think you got a 1A and a 1B combo there.
Yeah. Billy?
Yeah. I don't know. I watched game 3 last night, and the reason I'll pick Boston is not that I don't think it'll go long, because
Game 2, bud.
Game 2.
Oh, was it game 2? Sorry.
Yeah.
Billy.
No, I'm sorry. My take doesn't fucking matter anyway. But yeah, no. I think that Boston just showed, like, even though they lost, they were down 3-1 and then coming back, and people come back from 3-1 often. It's not that uncommon of a thing, but I think that. That's
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll take Boston in 6. I think that they're
Boston
just
in
like
6.
I think that Nick, you hit the nail on the head saying, like, they just got the experience. They got the guys who, going way back to talk about the Leafs and stuff. The Leafs have guys that perform in the regular season, but they just can't move to another level in the playoffs. Boston, like we said,
Boston does. They got those guys.
They do it consistently. They were down 1-0 to Washington, and they just dominated in 4 games. I think that they're going to take this. I don't want to say it's an embarrassing loss, but the overtime goal, try to go D to D, off his skate, breakaway scores. I think that hurts for sure.
Playoff hockey, baby.
That's right.
The hockey gods. There's the hockey gods right there.
I'm gonna say Boston in 6.
Yeah, as much as I hate them, I'm with Billy. I say Boston in 6.
Yeah. All right, boys. Anything else on your list there?
Guess we could talk about the 3 Vezina candidates.
All right. This is the last thing. This has to be the last thing.
Yeah.
I gotta eat. I'm sorry.
Me too. I still gotta eat.
Right quick. Who do you? Or just don't even talk about it. Who do you got? I got Fleury.
Greg.
Vasilevsky.
Oh.
Jesse.
I'd have to give it to Fleury.
Yeah, I'll go on Fleury.
Oh, fuck you guys, huh?
That's my weed, right?
The thing is, though, I don't know how they're gonna pick between these 3 goalies. You got Vasilevsky, Grubauer, and Fleury, who are all playing phenomenal.
Unreal.
It's true.
Grubauer is the Zach Fucali of the league right now.
Yeah, I think Grubauer's the one guy out of that conversation. But
No, Greg.
Between Vasilevsky and Fleury for sure.
I agree.
Greg, just to wrap you up, but really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Another great guest to have on. Greg Dobson set the tone. This is another, first line guy to come on the podcast for us. Really, really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day. We'll hope to see you in the rinks here soon. Stay safe, get your vaccine. Hopefully you got that already, and really appreciate it, man. You've been there. You've won big championships as a coach, and Ben and I love you, man. You're one of our best buddies with you and Wamby and Peter McIsaac. We'll hope to see you at the rink soon, man. Jesse, wrap it up, bud.
Yeah, Greg, thanks again for coming on, and everything too that I wanted to mention is I think it's cool that they let you kept that Atlantic Championship banner. I know.
That's not the real one. The real one's in the BMO Center.
Is that just like a copy?
Yeah, we got them made.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, the BMO Center is not the BMO Center anymore.
What?
What?
Yeah, the partnership's done. BMO pulled out. Like all
what
their
is
signs
it?
and everything are gone off it. So
What's it
I
now?
don't know what it's called.
Oh, all right. Stay tuned for episode 11. Find out. No, but,
Next time you drive by it, take a look. It looks weird.
Here and
Yeah.
tell us
Weird.
all about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But,
thanks again, Greg, for coming on here.
Yeah, it's a double-
thanks for having me, guys. I love to coming on, and you guys know a lot about hockey. As I said, good friends with Ben and Nick. Always good talking to you guys, and hopefully me, Pete, and Matt can come on and do one of these in the future.
Yeah, we
have a lot of stories we could share.
We're trying to get Wambi on here too, but he apparently doesn't do Zoom. So
after
maybe,
we had some team Zoom meetings this year, and Wambi got a little fed up with the whole thing.
So stay tuned for the fans and the subscribers. Hopefully we can get Greg on here again, and we'll get Petey and Wambi, and that'll be our first in-person podcast. That'll be pretty cool.
Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. And the last thing I'll say before I sign off is, to all those Leaf fans out there, I'm going to leave you with what Sean McKenzie said about winning big games. Your best players have to be your best players.
Yep.
Well said, buddy.
Well said.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow our Instagram page too. That we'll have the link to that in the description of this video. So toss us a follow. Stay updated on when the next episodes will be coming out and what we'll be talking about.
Yes, sir.
Jesse, Jesse looks really hot tonight. Look at him. Oh my God.
He does, yeah.
All right, boys. Love you guys. See you later in the week.
See you, boys.
Thanks, Greg.
Go Wings for the lottery.
Oh my gosh. Shut up. I'll be wearing my Sens jersey. Don't worry.
I'll be wearing my Wings one.
Hey, boys.
See ya, boys.